They just don't realize it, or they're afraid to ask for help.
Yes. I like that you said that because mentorship is so important. That's one of the things
Oh,
that I say that, all of us need, whether it's a group of advisors or one mentor, and someone in your industry too, if you can, look up to and kind of emulate. And then, like you said, just as you continue to grow, then you just become your own, right? So
yeah,
you're using their best practices, but then you're like tweaking and you're like, okay, I got this, but let me put my spin on it. I think that that's
exactly.
I think that that's so important, and good for our community to know and understand is that you have to be vulnerable enough to ask for the help that you need,
Yes.
and it's out there,
Yes.
right? No matter where you're starting at, no matter what your budget is, there are resources available, and so we would definitely make sure we give you access to those resources so that you can move forward in your business. Now, as you continue to grow, one thing that, I was thinking about is that, there are some decisions that we make in our business that can either make or break our business.
Oh,
What were some of those important decisions that you made that allowed you to keep building?
that's a great question. So I would say it was kind of taking some bigger leap of faith that I wasn't sure whether it was a good decision or not to make that ultimately grew my company, right? So it might have been, for example, a larger contract. We just signed a larger contract the other day that's going to triple us in size over the next 6 months. These things, they can be scary, they can be overwhelming, but at the same time, you got to look at the positive of it. Is this really the direction of my company? And maybe this is just the path of natural growth and progression for my company. I would say though, also the one thing I would mention is, identifying your weaknesses, because you're not going to be good or strong in every area, especially being a business owner. You wear multiple hats. You are not going to be strong in all of the departments. So learn where you're not strong and ask for help or find support in areas where you're not strong. I am not strong in accounting. I can deposit checks left and right, and I can spend that money left and right, but I can't balance a book to save my life or be able to code accountants. And so I hired an accountant to be able to do it. So learn your strengths and your weaknesses so that way you can identify areas where maybe you do need to hire outside, whether it's a consultant, a firm, whatever it might be, to then strengthen your company, because ultimately you making mistakes could cost your company thousands upon thousands of dollars versus an expert who's going to do it properly and have no issues. So things like that I like to keep in mind.
Yes, and so that is so important. Like we all have our strengths and weaknesses. So we need to really focus on operating in our zone of genius and those things that
Yes.
are outside of that to hire those people that can function in their zone of genius. And
Love it.
I think you agree that having proper processes and systems in place really help to facilitate your ability to grow in your business, because when you got started, correct me if I'm wrong, you started with one person, that was yourself,
Yep.
right? And then
Yep.
you had to grow into having, a larger team.